So how did you find Comicsgate and stuff, man? Like, how did you find this little corner of the interwebs? What do you do?
I well, I collect comics. I got comics. And I came across John Malin and Ethan really to start with. I noticed their channels, started watching them, and then it led on to all the other artists.
What kind of
I knew of a lot of them,
hey,
like people like
you're
Mel Keown and Billy Tucci and stuff. I knew of them before I came online.
Mhm.
But yeah, I didn't realise they were actually that. All the artists like yourself were so active online. It was just interesting.
Well, we sort of had to be. It's kind of got to the point where it was like there was a network that we've all talked about a million times called the Whisper Network, and what had happened was people had positioned themselves in the roles of editors and influencers, which is a word I hate, but that's what essentially had happened. And they were essentially deciding who could and couldn't get work. You know, we've seen it a bit more like with this recent cancelization at E2, C2E2, but it was bad back in the day, back in 2016 and stuff. And so folks had to step up and do something. We had one option: we could step out here in the independent space, fight for ourselves, carve out some ground, and just sort of speak directly to the fans, so there's no middleman. That's what we did, and it's been successful. You know, it's the one way they can't take us down. They try constantly, but you know, I think that there should be a direct pipeline between the customer and the creator. You know, you guys shouldn't have to, you know, go through purity filters. Should be able to say and think what we want. But yeah. So, what sort of comics are you into and stuff? Scab, like you said, you collect stuff, but you're from the UK. Like, what was
Yeah,
your?
I've got a lot of 2000 AD comics, like Judge Dredd, things like
Yeah.
that. The Dick Tracy comics as well. I like noir
Oh yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Cool. That you don't hear many people that are into that anymore. In fact, I don't really see a lot of Dick Tracy sort of out there at all anymore. Is it still being published? Like,
I don't know. I've got most of mine are old, like really
yeah,
old copies. I don't know if they're still making them.
yeah.
Yeah, random stuff really, bit of everything. I like DC a little bit. I like Batman. That was pretty much it really with DC.
Mhm.
Booster Gold.
Booster Gold's great. He's my favorite fucking character. Well,
One of
him
my
and Ted Wood. Did you ever get a chance to read? Did you ever get a chance to read Justice League International with him and Ted and all the guys from back in
no,
the day?
no.
That's worth checking out when you've got the time. You know, Keith did that, JMD did that, and it was a home run series. Not a lot of people talk about it, but really funny, really entertaining. Good character work, good character studies. So,
What got you into comics? What were your first comics that you got?
um, I grew up with like a lot of 80s kids, like with Transformers and He-Man and all that kind of stuff, you know. And so my first comic books, because I'm like from like my home was like shitty. I was come from like my parents were junkies and stuff, you know. Um, and
Yeah,
so
I,
I didn't have like toys and shit because we were so fucking poor. We were so we were jam jar pov. That's what we were called, which means we're so fucking poor. We didn't have glasses. We drank out of jam jars, right? Like that's fucking where we were living. And because of that, I didn't have toys or nothing. But my friends, they would throw out their Masters of the Universe mini comics, and so I'd always ask if I could have them. So those were my first comic books. So I love those. I love the animated work of Osamu Tezuka, you know, and so I would draw a lot of that, you know. Um, and then I just really sort of resonated with Spider-Man when one of my friend's uncles came back from America with just this huge stash of comics, and he asked us to sort of organize them, you know, to shut us all up as kids. He paid us to put them all in numerical order because they're just in random boxes. So me and my friend Vincent just went in under a stairwell and packed comics all the time and looked at them all, and I just fell in love with it. You know, I thought it was great, and I've been a fan ever since. So
fair play. Yeah, I had a pretty similar upbringing, to be honest. I didn't come from very rich backgrounds.
Yeah, well, it's not always the best, you know. I think that a lot of these folks that do have it easy don't really understand what it's like to sort of need to
I think
struggle to
I
get
think
where you
it
want to
gives you
go.
something extra. You become more streetwise and like less
Mhm.
snobby to things as well. You get on with people better. I think when you're poor, you're a
Yeah,
nicer person most of the time.
most of the time, exactly. You know, I agree,
Someone else grew up. Joe Camel. I grew up drinking out of jam jars. Where are you
brother.
from, Joe Camel?
Yeah, where you from? And a little
Hot
bit of
noodle.
punk rock and Avatar. Yeah, pot noodles as a luxury background. Yeah.